Chapter 17. I opened my eyes. The carriage hung in the air, weightless. All around me stars glittered like diamonds just spilled across the bowl of the sky. Comets flashed across constellations. The moon glowed silver and pulsed as rhythmically as a heart. Somehow we were not falling. Instead, we were floating. Overcome, I began to cry out. It's beautiful. Why was I afraid of death? There's nothing to fear. It's so beautiful to die. But then came the horrific plummet, and I swallowed my next words whole. My stomach flew up into my throat, and my vision went dark with fear. As we spun dizzyingly downward, I screamed and screamed until impact. A bone-cracking, ear-splitting crash. Dust and rocks exploded into the air as the carriage wheels struck the ground, and I was flung from my seat. I crashed into the front wall, and it slammed my cheek. Tiny stars burst into my vision. But somehow the carriage had not shattered, and somehow I was not crushed to pieces. And even more stupefying was this. The horses had landed on their feet, and they were still running. I clawed my way back up to the bench and leaned out the window again. The sky was black and starless now, and we were on a thin dirt road, with ancient trees growing so close on either side that I could have touched them. My hair whipped around my face, and a branch lashed my cheek. Dust covered my face, my throat, the bodice of my old satin dress. I had never been so disheveled, so shocked, so free. If this was death, why did I feel so alive? As we raced through the darkness, I realized in wonder that all weakness had left me. I no longer shook. No fever burned my limbs with its flames. The finger on which the blister had appeared was dirty but utterly smooth. Was this real? I leaned farther out the window, and the rushing wind seared my eyes. "Pieter," I called, but still there was no answer. Wedging my foot into the corner of the seat to balance myself, I pushed myself out farther, so that I hung nearly halfway out the window. And finally I saw who was taking me on this incomprehensible journey. It was not Pieter at all, but two unknown coachmen. One held the reins while the other stood hanging on to the carriage with one hand while holding a great torch aloft with the other. Their shoulders were hunched, their backs broad and misshapen. They had tiny bat-like ears, and their bald heads were a brackish blue-green in the torchlight. Open sores on their flesh oozed a gleaming slime. I could smell them now, the stench of refuse of death, of bodies rotting from the inside out. I gasped in horror, and the thing with the torch turned around. Its pupilless eyes narrowed at me as it curled its purple lip in an animal's snarl. "What are you doing, fool?" it rasped. "Get back inside, you idiot girl!" My mouth fell open. That was no way to speak to a queen, alive or dead. I would not be insulted by a putrid blue flesh bag like this one. "Don't you dare!" The driver cracked his whip across the horse's flanks, and they shot forth in a demonic burst of speed. I lost my balance and lurched halfway out the window. To keep from slipping even further out, I dug my nails into the ornate wooden scrollwork hanging on for my life. "Stop!" I commanded. The driver only cackled and cracked his whip again. My forehead slammed against the outside wall of the carriage. I let out a high, piercing cry of pain and fear as over and over branches lashed my cheeks. I was losing my grip. In another moment I'd fall and be crushed under the carriage wheels. The beastly drivers paid me no heed, and then, up ahead, I saw something blocking the road.